rights and the financial security and freedom that comes from having multiple streams of income.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
And there's a start. Archbishop of basketball. Go! He hung on that net like a stalk up a tree. NTA Sports.
President Buhari assures the federal government's commitment towards rapid and strategic transition to renewable energy.
Senate calls for pay-per-view plans on paid television.
He says SSR is all related price increase almost every 2 years needs to be properly checked and addressed.
The House of Representatives urges relevant authorities to assist communities affected by flood.
Residents of the affected communities are living in constant fear of being permanently displaced by raging floods.
Good morning, Nigeria. Today we shall focus on the internal wrangling in the People's Democratic Party, PDP.
So, a house divided against itself, unquote. Now, if Abraham Lincoln was alive today, he probably would be directing this famous speech to political parties in the country. The circumstances may differ, but the consequences of a crack in the wall cannot be wished away if it is unattended to.
Well, Claire, as you very well know, the crack on the wall of, say, the opposition People's Democratic Party is widening, and there appears to be no end in sight to the division in the once acclaimed largest political party on the African continent.
All right, and since inception of the party some 24 years ago, only one chairman had served his term out. Now, from the pioneer chairman, Solomon La, to Barnabas Jamadi, to Audu Ogbe, Ahmadu Ali, Vincent Ubilafo, Okosileze Nwodo, Bamanga Tuko, Ali Modu Sharif, and of course, Uche Secondos. Only one PDP national chairman, and that's Ali, served out his tenure and stepped down without rancor.
Well, the agitation that is in the air for the resignation of the incumbent national chairman of the party, that's Dr. Iyorchia Ayu, who himself was the Senate president during the aborted Third Republic, took a different turn this week when members of the agitating camp pulled out of the presidential campaign council of Atiku Abubakar.
the decision was said to have been taken at a meeting held in Rivers State by members of the CAM, including Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, former governors John Ojang, Olusegun Mimiko, Ayo Fayose, Ibrahim Dankwambo, and of course Donald Duke. Former Deputy National Chairman of the party, Chief Olabode George, also completes the list of those who attended that meeting.
And as you can see, Claire, the names you just mentioned, these are no small fries at the party.
Indeed.
Yeah, these are big names who at one time absolutely had had executive positions in the country or had also had leadership positions in the party. Now they are group members reserved, as we said earlier, not to have any dealings with the Atiku Campaign Council until the national chairman, Ayocha Ayu, vacates his seat.
Of course, he has said he has no intention of doing that. But the presidential candidate, that is former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, is however insisting that the national chairman, Senator Ayu, can only be removed if he so chooses, or by the provision of the party's constitution. Now the question is, what does that portend for the PDP ahead of 2023 presidential elections? That will be the thoughts of our conversation on Good Morning Nigeria today as we focus on the internal party wranglings in the PDP. I am Claire Abilabu Abdulrazak. Thank you for joining me.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. I join Claire to also welcome you to the program. Live as always on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We're broadcasting from our Abuja headquarters studios. We shall also, in the course of the program, have our complementary segments, and this will include business and newspaper review. Right now, here is Anne Jibuno, who has the highlights of the morning news. Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, Kingsley and Claire. Good morning, Nigeria. The news. President Muhammadu Buhari says increased collaboration with Nigeria is essential towards mitigating the current and potential future supply chain challenges as the country is ready to fuel a greater amount of renewable demand. Addressing participants at the second Nigerian National on the capital forum in New York, the president assured foreign investors of an enabling business environment that is open and strong. The president announced called on African countries to collaborate more effectively with their other partners and work harder on unity towards achieving common objectives, especially as it relates to the Israeli-Palestine conflict. This was now heard in evidence from the president of Council, Mahmoud Abbas, on the emergence of the new image of the state. President has overstated the commitment of the federal government to a rapid and strategic transition to renewable energy in response to the worldwide efforts for preservation of the environment. The federal was speaking out to call for a legal agreement and change that will have a secretive dialogue with nations and general concerns and finance of the United Nations General Assembly. Therefore, for example, of education technology, a more effective and balanced sphere of representation and participation in politics and government will have major impact on the country's socio-economic future and overall national development. Vice President Yemi stated this in a message to the 2022 Women's Electors Conference in the facing forward the evolving nature of goals in a rapidly changing world. The Vice President advocated more female representation in leadership positions in government and across different sectors as an economic imperative and not a moral duty of men or mere concession by men, stressing that a country that keeps down half of its productive demography is bound to perform suboptimally. Urging more efforts by governments at all levels to improve girl-child education, Vice President Osinbajo said there is a much larger fight for the future of a large majority of girls who are not even represented in primary schools. The Vice President commended the organizers of the conference for their effort, work and the initiative. Senate is disturbed by the rate of increment of pay TV tariff in Nigeria and has called for pay-per-view plans To that effect, it invited service providers for discussions on how best to achieve this.
This exercise of related price increase almost every 2 years needs to be properly checked and addressed.
Not just to avoid possible cases of exploitation, but to be in tandem with the international practices.
With salaries.
It's moderate and affordable. The feeling of all Nigerians when they make this representation to me, JCB monitors certainly bringing Nigerians.
The House of Representatives has urged relevant authorities to reach out to communities affected by flood disasters towards elevating the plight of residents. This was in response to a matter of urgent public importance raised by Representative Abuja Hassan Fulata and 9 other members during plenary on Thursday.
Residents of the affected communities are living in total fear of being thoroughly displaced by raging floods, as well as attendant destruction of properties and outbreak of diseases, even as they are currently facing untold hardship.
The opposition party PDP's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar's blueprint roadmap for Nigeria has been described as an adaptation of President Muhammadu Buhari's achievements since coming to office. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing in Abuja.
This press conference, therefore, is aimed at exposing the hypocrisy, deceit and emptiness inherent in the opposition that condemns an administration while also showcasing a blueprint that is nothing but a poor version of what is on ground today.
That's it for now. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Claire and Kingsley after this break. Thanks for staying with us.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home with tales and stories, why bring in germs?
Should your family some germs? When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Wake up the champion in your child. Give them energy to go further. Milo Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child. Milo.
It has great taste. Yummy, yummy, full of nourishment.
Ovaltine 3-in-1. Smart toys for smart kids.
The security challenges we are faced as a government have been daunting, from terrorism to banditry, to kidnapping, to separatist violence, to crude oil theft, to armed robbery and sundry crimes. It's undoubtedly the greatest challenge to the peace and security of our great country since the Civil War of 1967 to 1970. It's the kind of challenge that would have overwhelmed many nations. But thanks to the purposeful leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, we can say, I want to repeat, that the worst is over, and peace and security are gradually returning to the land.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. When times are tough, we know that as a mother, one thing you should never compromise on is your family's oral health, because they deserve the best. Oral-B, all-round protection. Great value.
protects your mouth from harmful bacteria and also protects you against pitfalls and gum problems with fluid tissue plus. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect your future. Oral-B, the hardest stronger teeth in just 1 week.
Every day in our country, senior citizens are discriminated against, disparaged, and treated with disdain by those who ought to respect them. We are all complicit in the way we have treated the elderly members of our society as institutions, families, or members of a shared society. Every time senior citizens get offered less than they deserve for the work they do because they are old, poor, and desperate, we are failing them. Senior citizen loses a child, and wow, they must be responsible for their death. Every time a senior citizen gets labeled the rich, is called mad, and shooed out of the way because they have no memory of where they were headed and look unkempt, we are failing them. We say, abeg, you don old, make you do die, make everybody for rest. To ailing parents, uncles and aunts. That's discrimination. That is neglect. When you see an old woman getting beat up and being accused of witchcraft, do not turn the other way. Stop and teach people that white hairs, wrinkles and hunchbacks are no evidence of witchcraft. Aging comes with a memory decline. Sometimes it's not out of place to have elderly people lose their way, forget details of their lives, and how to properly take care of themselves. When they get to this stage, they deserve your empathy, not scorn. Our ailing fathers, mothers, aunties and uncles are deserving of quality healthcare and peaceful transition. Make their last moments memorable. Senior citizens have paid their dues. They deserve your care. Stop all forms of discrimination against them today.
Alright, let's take a look at trending business stories. Federal government is eyeing full membership of Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and that's to boost Nigeria's export of seeds. For details, let's join Kunle Adi.
The federal government, through the National Agricultural Seeds Council, is taking steps to make Nigeria a full member of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development to boost Nigeria's seed exports. The hint was dropped at a workshop on International Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development seed certification in Abuja, where the global corporation trained Nigeria's officials as part of the requirements to become a certified OECD member nation. Director General Nigeria Agricultural Seeds Council Dr. Philip Ojo said Nigeria's seeds will be sold globally with ease once the country attains the status of an OECD membership, noting that this would halt all forms of seeds dumping in Nigeria. He remarked that the professionals from OECD will assess Nigeria's facilities after the workshop and expressed optimism that the country will scale through. And to the details of Thursday's tradings on the floor of the exchange. With business news, I'm Kule Adeyeye.
Thank you, Kunle, for the business package on Good Morning Nigeria. Coming up next is newspaper review.
Alright, welcome to the newspaper review segment, and we'll begin with Friday Al Jazeera. It has as its lead story, insecurity. Ondo will acquire AK-47 for defense, according to the state governor Akeredolu. And he says, what is good for Katsina, good for us. Police deny arming Katsina vigilante with AK-47. Details of that story you can find on page 8. And just to the left-hand column, UNGA, that's United Nations General Assembly, Tallinn nominated Africa's leading women. Details of that on page 12. Police have role on credibility of 2023 polls, says IGP. And suit seeking declaration of the Coronado seat vacant, satanic, by Ohanese. Details of that on page 22. And on the other side of the paper, 62nd independent anniversary to celebrate Nigerians' resilience. You can read up all the details on page 12. And federal government appoints acting postmaster general. It's also on page 12. And Tambuwal succeeds Fayemi as Governors Forum chairman. Details of that on page 4. And that's the outlook on the front page of Bible Jazeera.
All right, we also take a look at the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust, you have the following headlines. ASU, NIDA says IPPIS and Utah's failed integrity tests as reps summon SGF, AGF and others. Governors and BOT in fresh move to resolve PDP crisis. Police kill 16-year-old artisan, injure 2 others in Jos. The next story has a double-decker headline and begins with the kicker, Buhari to investors. Capital inflow a major challenge. We categorize our stolen crude as blood oil. That's according to Kiari. That's the CEO of NNPC Limited. Categorize our stolen crude as blood oil. Nigeria needs help to tackle debt burden. That's attributed to the African Development Bank president. Okay, no addition. Emefiele interest rate would continue to rise. And then 2023, IGP, Inspector General of Police, puts police commanders on alert. Baz Amotekun, ESN, that is Eastern Security Network, and others from election campaigns. Warns politicians against violence and hate speech. Abu Salami Committee invites Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, and others for peace accord. So, these are the headlines on the front pages of the 2 newspapers we have this morning. I believe there are stories in other papers that we don't have the hard copies right here. But there is a story that we don't have on the front pages of these papers today, but it's been available online, Claire. And that story has to do with an incident that was reported to have occurred in Gariki here in Abuja. Some accounts said it was in area 11, and of course our Abuja headquarters studios is in area 11, but you also have residential locations in area 11 here, and it has to do with the alleged assault by one Professor Zainab Duke Abiola had made, and another aide who is now said to be on the run. They were reported to have assaulted and injured police inspector Teju Moses. The Inspector General of Police, of course, has issued a statement through the first public relations officer. The photograph of the police officer has also gone viral. Inspector Teju Moses was said to have declined the instructions to her to engage in performing domestic chores for Professor Zainab Duke Abiola. She said that wasn't the reason why she was sent to act as an orderly or provide security for Professor Zainab Duke Abiola. Professor Zainab Abiola is described as a human rights activist, according to the account. Now, the photograph that has been published online shows the bloodied head and face of Inspector Moses, Inspector Teju Moses, and the IG says, look, the case should be investigated and trial commenced as swiftly as they can put the case file together. So now that's a good development to say that put the case file together. I know that, but my chief concern with that story, apart from what the IGP has said they should do, which is the right step in the right direction. But now they also said that they should withdraw whatever police orderly is police personnel was attached to the said Professor Zainab Duke Abiola, and that she doesn't have any relationship with the IG nor the wife of the IG, and that she's dropping the names of those persons. She of course has been arrested, and so taken into custody. So yeah, Claire, you want to say something?
I'm just wondering on what grounds, in the first place, she was given the police,
That's to be honest with you, that is the basic issue to resolve. Of course, you now have criminal assault which has taken place, and that will lead to prosecution and so on and so forth. Now, when the police authorities now say, well, withdraw whatever police personnel was attached to Professor Zainab Duke Abiola, what the police command should also find out, should also ascertain is who assigned Inspector Teju Moses to this professor. Why was this professor assigned a police personnel? Because if the police personnel, unless Inspector Teju Moses was doing what is commonly referred to as illegal duty, if Inspector Teju Moses was assigned to Professor Zainab Duke Abiola, what was the rationale? Because without her being assigned to Professor Abiola, then the question of saying, look, come and help sweep the house, come and wash plates, come and go to the market, go and buy tomatoes, we don't have onions, go to the street corner there and buy onions, that won't arise. If she were on our duty outside of the home of Professor Abiola, who is said to be a human rights activist, that will not arise. I think that the police authorities should also furnish members of the public with that information. If there are disciplinary measures to be taken against the assignment, this is what we talk about, rent a cop. If we misuse our personnel and then we say that, oh, we don't have enough police personnel, of the 300,000 or 320,000 police personnel that we have in Nigeria, over 100, some people will say 150,000, some other estimates indicate 120,000, who are on such duties all over the place, carrying, one of them there with sometime last year or so, carrying a plate of food, following one madam at a party. They also follow men, by the way, Claire. Carry, I remember saying, I saw fried rice on that, I saw chicken, saw salad, and so on.
And just to also say that women groups, Women Aid Collective, WACOL, in collaboration with Action Aid Nigeria and other women groups, are supposed to be holding a press conference on this particular issue today. And in fact, they have condemned it in strong terms. They say, of course, the use of violence, irrespective of any gender, is condemnable. So I think action is being taken already, and let's hope that the police authorities would also do the needful by furnishing us with whether or not the Professor Zainab Duke Abiola was deserving of a police escort.
How do you become deserving of a police? I say police orderly. They describe it as police orderly, police escort. It's become a status symbol in Nigeria to say, oh, you have a police orderly. You have the higher the rank of the police orderly, the better. If you see Mopo, it's also better. Mopo is only supposed to be anti-riot squad of the police. Where you have crisis situations, you deploy them before the military gets in there. So we misuse our personnel in this way and manner, and at the end of the day, we end up with this kind of inhuman and undeserving treatment to Inspector Teju Moses.
And perhaps, Kingsley, it will not be the first time that such a thing would happen, because it probably would have been happening. It probably would have been happening, maybe the first time, the second time, and things just got out of hand.
Well, just got out of hand. But if any person who sees the bloodied face of Inspector Teju Moses will obviously be shocked. And you don't do that to a law officer in uniform, or whether in or out of uniform, without facing the consequences. That's an assault to occasionally grievous bodily harm. Now, there's a report that you also have it online that ASU is appealing the ruling by the National Industrial Court. If you recall, Claire, earlier this week, the National Industrial Court granted an interlocutory injunction on the application of the federal government, directing the members of ASU to return to the classroom pending the determination of the substantive suit. But we understand that ASU is appealing. That's the headline that I'm seeing here from the online edition of the Punch. But whether there has also been an application for a stay of execution of that injunction is what is not immediately clear.
All right, I think that does it for us and today's newspaper review. And for more details, you can go out there and get yourselves copies of, the newspaper. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll begin our conversation for today.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be patient? If you must worry, don't worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bringing germs?
Shield your family from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Wake up the champion in your child. Give them energy to go further. Milo Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child. Milo!
Removes mosquitoes so you can sleep. Calm and peaceful sleep. Good night, Delano.
Critical military objectives of total defeat of the terrorists in the Northeast is already been achieved. Synchronized group and air operations have continued to inflict huge casualties on the terrorists, and have been forcing many of them, including their commanders and emirs, to surrender in droves with members of their families. Whilst areas where terrorists hitherto have some freedom of actions are being cleared, and socio-economic life is gradually returning to the most parts of the Northeast. As well, internal displaced persons are now returning to their ancestral homes to start life all over in dignity under safe and more secure environment.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Alright, welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service. It's Friday's edition. And today we're looking at the internal wranglings within the People's Democratic Party. And to key off our conversation, let's take a look at this background report put together by correspondent Ekene Ndulue.
It is now a matter of days to commencement of campaigns ahead of the 2023 general elections, and parties are already dotting the I's and crossing the T's on their campaign programs. But all appears not to be well with Nigeria's main opposition party, PDP, as internal wranglings within the party is posing a threat to a smooth campaign. Contending issues are zoning the presidential ticket of the party, choice of the vice presidential candidate, as well as the national chairman, who aggrieved members of PDP are demanding for his resignation. In the middle of this crisis is Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, who believes that equity demands that the standard bearer of the party should be someone from the southern part of the country. But that was not to be, as the zoning committee opened the race that saw Atiku Abubakar emerge as presidential candidate of PDP at the party primaries in May this year. In the days after the party primaries, Governor Wike and his camp had insisted that the party's national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu, must resign to allow an acting national chairman of Southern extraction emerge and lead the party's campaign council for Atiku in the 2023 general elections. To the discontented members, this will allow for equity, fairness and justice within the party. Negotiations after negotiations have been held to resolve the impasse, but all meetings ended in deadlock. The latest shocker came this Wednesday when Governor Nyesom Wike and some other stakeholders in the party announced their discontinuation with the Atiku's campaign council, insisting that the party's national chairman must resign. This happened after a meeting at the country home of Governor Wike, in which PDP members, including governorship candidates, former governors, and some party leaders across the country, maintained that their position is not negotiable. What does this portend for the PDP ahead of 2023 presidential elections? Guests on Good Morning Nigeria shall be looking at issues around the internal wranglings in PDP.
Thank you very much, Ekene Unduwe, for that background report. We have three guests with us in the studios and another guest who is joining us via Zoom. Let's first welcome Senator Olaka Nwogu. Senator Nwogu was a member of the 8th Senate representing Rivers Southeast Senatorial District. Senator, we're glad to have you this morning on the program.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, and then here with us in the studios, Charles Saniago. Charles Saniago is one of the spokespersons for the Atiku Abubakar Presidential Campaign Organization. Charles Saniago, we're glad to have you here in the studios.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
We're having you for the second time in as many weeks as we are discussing this subject matter. Last time it was via Zoom from the quiet waters around the Asaba area. So good to see you here in the studios.
Thanks for having me.
All right, okay. We also have with us here a regular face on Good Morning Nigeria, Jide Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst. Jide, glad to have you this morning.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
And then Claire.
Okay. This is a gender issue. You have left me to introduce this.
There's no gender. There's no gender. There's no gender in this. Yes.
All right. It's my pleasure to introduce the President Women in Politics, Ebere Ifendo. Ebere, of course, is a familiar face on Good Morning Nigeria. She's joining us via Zoom all the way from Sokoto State. Have we spotted Ebere? Good morning. All right, thank you for joining us, Kingsley.
Yes. All right, thank you very much, Claire, and we're glad to have all the guests with us, even though, of course, this is a troubling subject matter for members of the People's Democratic Party. I'm sure some other political parties will be celebrating the crisis that appears to be unending in the PDP, even though other political parties also have their own issues. I'm sure they are quenching fires here and there, and as they are quenching another one, of course, is igniting. Let's begin with Senator Olaka Nwogu. Let's help our viewers understand why there appears to be no headway in seeking to resolve this issue. The issue appears also on the face of it to be a simple one. Say, look, the presidential candidate of the party comes from the north, and so they say, according to the president or according to their constitution, the chair of the party should come from the south. And they say the incumbent chair, who is from the political north, should therefore step down. Why? Is it as simple as that, or it's more complicated?
Well, I think it depends on who has a view on it. But I see it exactly the way you put it. It's as simple as it can be. It's a thing of honor. We have a process, and we call that the current president is from the north. And the thinking within the party is that the next president will be from the south after 8 years of long-term leadership. So in involving the leadership of IU, it was easy for the party to think along those lines and shift the chairmanship of the party to the north, because that was the most conventional before all this will happen. Thinking that in the south, the north will produce party chairman, the north will produce candidate. But in the course of political negotiations and zoning and everything else, which our constitution actually obliged us to do, and we did not do, it turned out that the north produced the chairman. Then the chairman himself, Ayub said, if this were to happen, I will quit. He said so. Nobody raised it before he came up with it. I will quit. I will leave. It has happened that way, and suddenly the man will not quit anymore. So honor, dignity, the simple things that make a man, which is the capacity to keep his word, and his word is his bond. It's at issue.
So does anyone have IU on record as making this pledge?
I have it in my tape here. I'll play it for you if you want to. Yes. I'd like it to you before I leave here. Or if you want, I get my phone, I play it for you. He said, I will leave. If the chairman of the presidential candidate of the party were to come from the north, I will resign. I will play it for you here. So now, you see, it may be easy for people to put spin to it and say what they want to say. But it's difficult for people who have honor to live in that space. Not everybody accommodates this, everything is fair. You just say something, deny what you said, or disown yourself, and you think it may be convenient for you. Some other people will just find that space too toxic to play in. And if I can get that tape to you, which is right here, and we play it, and people say, then are you, there's no issue. We begin to wonder what society we want. We want to lead Nigeria. We want to keep our party united. But we ask that within ourselves, we should honor ourselves, we should keep our word, we should be those people that Nigerians can trust through and through. And we underline every effort at victory with this simple issue. It looks intractable, but it's the most. Kids in school, we simply tell themselves this is not where I resolve it in less than an hour. And it's taking us weeks and months.
At what point did he make that statement? At what point did he, say that he would resign?
You see, somehow he said it severally in meetings with stakeholders and all. But in this particular one, I think it was an interview with a reporter. That's why it's on tape, because they asked him and he answered back. And this was before the primaries.
Okay, Senator Wogu, thank you very much. We hope we will have access to that tape we were talking about.
That's what we said.
We will give you the opportunity to reach it, but we'll also enter a caveat so that if we know the full surrounding circumstances of the clip that you are playing back to us, then we will also enter a caveat that Ayocha himself is not immediately available to respond to some of those, but we will help illustrate this so that our viewers can have a better understanding of what's playing out. I want to bring in Charles Aniago again. And a couple of weeks ago when we had this conversation, you brought in a very interesting perspective, one that Senator Wogu has also touched on. Senator Wogu takes if you may, a pan-Nigerian view of things to say, oh, the incumbent president is from the north. And so the expectation is that from the 2023 elections, the next president will come from the south. But I recall that 2 weeks ago when we had this conversation and we had you via Zoom, you introduced an interesting dimension to that particular argument. If you wish to recast it and as well as respond to the other points that is raised.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity given to us to deal with these issues. One, I'm very, very happy for 2 reasons. I'm from the same southern part of the country with my elder brother, Senator Nwugu. Secondly, both of us also belong to the same political party, governed by the same rules of that party. He has said it is simple, but we will go to the rules of the party. First of all, talking about issue of playing tape as to what Ayu said. I don't think Ayu has denied that he said so. But we need to look at the issues between what he said and the law of our party, which one is superior. But before I do that, let me go back to 2006. So that when people, one thing that is constant between whether you are from southern Nigeria or northern Nigeria is that you are a Nigerian. So in which case, no matter what part of this country you are from, as a Nigerian, you must think the country first and not to begin to put this sword and always want to divide us, north, south, and make it a very big issue. In other developed climes, nobody talks this way. We look at what works for the people. Our president, President Buhari, is from Katsina. I am not too sure life has become far better for those in Katsina than it was in 2015. So in which case, it is about what the president gives to the people and not where the president comes from. Now coming to the issue at stake.
The president or his spokespersons are not here to immediately.
No. I'm talking. That's why I said I'm not too sure. I'm saying I am not too sure.
But you are throwing it in regardless.
So now let me comment to the issues he has raised. In 2006, he has been a member of the PDP even far before I joined. In 2006, to the best of my knowledge, President Obasanjo was the president of this country. And Ahmadu Ali was the chairman of the PDP. The primary of the party was conducted. Umar Musa Yar'Adua of blessed memory from Katsina became the presidential candidate of the PDP. Ahmadu Ali prosecuted that election until Yar'Adua was elected and he became a candidate and became a president before the party went ahead to conduct another election to bring in somebody from the southern extraction. He prosecuted that election. Nobody asked him to leave because a northern candidate has emerged. He knows very well because he's a member of the party. In 2006, you can check the records, Ahmadu Ali from Kogi State. And thereafter, he passed on. Later on, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan became the president. And when he became the president, automatically, the man in the south, because the power has shifted to the south. When he became the president after the death of Yar'Adua, the man from the south, Obulafo Vincent, still remained the chairman of the party until the time when they were to do election. He did not leave immediately. Because these are tenured offices. But beyond the issue of tenured offices, they have been talking about the issue of zoning. Zoning in the constitution of our party speaks to one very, very important thing, and that is zoning of offices and zoning of positions. The position of a presidential candidate is not an office. When you contest election, let us assume tomorrow, God forbid, that the North, in this case now represented by the person of the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, loses the election, and I said God forbid because I know he will win. And you are taking away what you are giving to them by way of zoning. Will you tell them, okay, you know this chairman was in your area before, now let us go and bring it back? The difference between what we are saying and what they are saying is timeline. Our presidential candidate, and even you, is on the same page that there is a need to shift the position of the chairman to the south. But immediately after the election, because we have a bigger picture in front of us, So that after that, we now do this what we are talking about, just as it was done in 2006. But beyond that, for me to wrap up so that we can also go to the other guests that we have in the program. When we look at these issues and say it's as simple as 1 minute, if Ayu steps down, that is not the problem. He knows that Ayu stepping down is not the problem. The movement of the position of the chairman from the north to the south is the problem, not Ayu stepping down. By virtue of the provisions of the constitution of the party, the national chairman comes from the same region from where the deputy national chairman who takes over comes from. And by law, the moment the national chairman steps down by virtue of section 45 of the PDP constitution, once the national chairman is removed by the party or he steps down, the next in line by virtue of section 45 of the constitution is the deputy national chairman, who oftentimes by virtue of our constitution comes from the same region as that chairman. And in this case, the national chairman of the party is Damagu.
Deputy national chairman.
Deputy national chairman is Damagu. So even if Ali leaves, Damagu will step in. I want my elder brother, a man I respect so well, to tell us why are they not discussing what will happen to Damagu if Ali steps down. Then tell me as I wrap up, the national secretary who is third in line in the hierarchy of the PDP is from the south, in the person of Senator Ayan from Imo State. And by convention and the principles of our party and the constitution of our party, the national chairman and the national secretary don't come from the same region. The reason is that both of them actually run the party. The national secretary runs the secretariat, the national chairman heads the entire party. So even if we are moving the national chairman, assuming without considering that it's possible to move the national chairman and prevail on Damagu to also step aside, and you bring these two positions to the south, you must also engineer a process that must take the national secretary back to the north for the purpose of assuming that balance. And the national organizing secretary too usually is from the same region as the chairman because of ease of operations. So when they say that it's just Ayu stepping down, that is easy. Ayu stepping down is very easy. But moving the chairmanship position from the north to the south will offend the spirit and intent of the constitution of the PDP. And my elder brother knows.
Okay, that's where Jide Ojo will come in here now. So it's a case of equity versus party constitution. But first of all, I also like you to speak to the fact that we don't have proof yet that the national chairman had given his words, to resign if the president of the party, the presidential candidate of the party, comes from the north.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians. As somebody who is independently observing this whole scenario and Braha, I think there is more to this than meet the eye. Both camps are not saying what actually is at the heart of the issue. And I would blame the party for abandoning its own zoning principle as being the rationale behind this whole crisis. How do I mean? You said there will be rotation. Like the single senator said, ab initio, everybody thought PDP presidential candidate will come from the south. But they set up Samuel Otuan committee to discuss that. And Otuan said, let's throw it apart. Let's throw it open. If they did not throw it open and they stick by the principle of zoning, a southern candidate will have emerged. And if a southern candidate emerges, there will be no need to say, I must go. But you threw it open, everybody knew, for those who are political watchers, if you go back in history, Senator Ayu and Vice President Atiku has come a long way together, politically. And bringing Ayu to the chairmanship position itself, in my own estimation, was done, I don't know whether to say in bad faith, because this is what you get when you do
this issue of daunting and just bring one person and is who we want to be the next chairman. If it had been thrown open and it was competitive, my recollection is that Aju was made a sole candidate. He was like a consensus candidate to come to that position. And that's the wrong, you know, when I say our political parties are afraid of competition, they are afraid of election, this is what you get. And that's why Governor Wike was sitting back to him, that before he was made chairman, he was picked from the gutter, he was pleading, he was committing to so many things that he is now the original. But I did think that he brought for, like everybody, there were 5, 7, 10 contestants, and he emerges through a competitive election. That will give him all this mudslinging about his, how he emerges as a candidate. He was calling everybody. Now he became governor. He's calling us children. Before he was made chairman, he was thanking me. He was pleading with me. It will not have happened. So from that moment down to throwing open the position of chairman, presidential candidate, and Atiku imagine, because this is what they are not telling us. I think being that Governor Wike is holding on to whatever Senator Ayu had promised, and which Senator Alaka said the senator promised, the national chairman promised to resign. That's what the Governor Wike's camp is holding on to. But you also have the response. You also have the response of Honorable Charles Alon. That he's not denying that he said it. He has never openly said, I never said that. But the party is looking at the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? Next Wednesday, campaigns are doing that. If you are going to remove Ayu, you remove 4 other people. Or whether you want to call it swap or whatever. You remove Ayu, you remove the deputy national chairman, you remove the national organizing secretary, you remove the secretary of the party. Because of the way it has been zoned. Now, while you are supposed to be campaigning to be president, you want to organize a special convention. Is it that easy to organize another special convention, looking at the logistics of having to do that very close to election? So the Ayu camp is saying, only slowly, let's prosecute this election. At least 2 examples have been given, and we are all live witnesses to those examples. That in 2006, as Senator Amadu Ali was the chairman of the party, and he's from Kogi State, and late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua on December 16, 2006 became the national candidate of the party.
The front lines were different as at the time.
No, it's not that the front lines being different. It's history. We are tracing history. What were the front lines that were different? They are talking about unifying the party. But you see, everybody is singing, Ayu must go, Ayu must go. You see, you don't cut your nose to spite your face. Ayu has not said he's not going. Ayu said, let's have the election and let's have the victory. When we have the victory, even before inauguration, I can leave, because it then means that our president for the next 4 years has come from the north, and I will not be in a position. It will not be following the principle of justice, equity, and fairness to remain in that position. So it's about timelines.
All right, Jide Ojo, thank you very much. Let's go over now to Sokoto, where we have Ebere Ifendu, who is joining us via Zoom. We see her on the right side of the screen. Let's have your perspective on this whole controversy in the PDP.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yes, it's very interesting. It's a party internal wrangling. It's normal. Most of the political parties as we have in Nigeria today, they are all having internal issues, from ADC to APC, virtually all the parties. But one interesting aspect of it is that you don't get women involved in all this. Because even when they share positions, they don't look at us as people who can get up to become like the party chair or secretary. And so you see, they make great problems for themselves.
I like that.
So you see, make great problems for themselves and also to suffer from it. When you look at the list that INEC just released and the number of women contesting elections, you will see that the effect is actually from internal party politics. So we have been saying that we need to have a standard party, political parties respect their constitution and have internal democracy. For me, it will give us more opportunity to have women on board. Be it as it may. The problem with PDP is one that can be solved. It can be solved easily. When I was listening to Mr. Anago from Delta State, I think I'm right, he made clear statement and then analyze the issues. And I think I will go with him. I will go with him because it's not an easy task to change an entire party executive. Because when you change the chairman, change the deputy chairman, change the secretary, organizing secretary, you have changed the heart of the party. And this is not the right time to do that. But again, I want us also to respect Governor Wike in all this. He's been a strong party man. Having stayed with the party through thick and thin, having contributed to the party, I would suggest that the party, yes, I know that they have sent the delegations to him, they should do more. I listened to him yesterday. One good thing I took out from his statement yesterday, he's made it clear that he will not be leaving the PDP. And this shows you that this is someone that is committed to the party. So I will plead and ask that in setting up this peace accord and all these things, can PDP decide to use their women to go to UK? Let the women be the ones to intercede. In crisis situations, men do not know how to handle it because of personal ego. They should send women, PDP women. PDP women. Professor Ato is there, the national woman leader. She can mobilize other women and go to Governor Wike to see what they can do to resolve this. Believe me, if women should take up this position, there will be peace in PDP. I think, again, I will say this. I was listening to when we talked about the deputy national chairman. I was laughing when the crisis started. I said it's not just about how you live in. Because if you remove IU from most party constitutions, you find out that it's the deputy from that zone that will complete the tenure of the chairman that resigned for whatever reason. So this is a simple problem. This can be solved, but when there is internal conflict, be it within the country, be it outside the country, be it in outside political parties, if you don't involve women, you will never get it solved. So this is the right time for PDP to look inwards and make use of God-sent women that they have in their party. Thank you.
Thank you, Ebere. Thank you. And let's come back here to the studio now. Senator Laka Uogu, you've listened to the views. So is your camp also considering the bigger picture, as Charles and other guests have indicated? Beyond equity, are you also considering the constitutional implications of what would happen if IU, steps down?
I'm going to answer that, but please just allow me make some, because I listened to our respected lady from Sokoto. First, she's asking for women inclusion, the justice for women. You see, this is why this problem will never be solved. You are there saying women are denied opportunities and involvement, they are not there. If you believe so, then you should be one of the people advocating for us just at all times. You can't ask for justice in one way and then you're asking others not to get it. You're saying, I stand with Charles, I like what he has said. Charles himself has admitted that IU said so. IU has never denied it. Then why can't we call out injustice? Why can't we call out dishonor? If you said something and you lead a party that's going to provide leadership for this country, you stand by your words. She says there it doesn't matter. You appeal to Wike. You want to tell women to go and appeal to Wike to do what is wrong.
I will not fight for what is right because that will bring peace. What kind of peace do you want without justice, without honor, without truth? So each time I even listen to my brother he said this way and also said the other way. I mean, if an analyst is trying to bring out the issues, he's not taking sides. But if men find the courage to deal with this thing, the privilege you have from me here is I'm somebody who has been the wrong side all through it. I've been like a fly on the wall. I was in the meeting between Atiku and Wike in London. I sat through that meeting. I was when Atiku visited Wike, I visited our presidential candidate and said, I stayed with him and talked about these issues. It's something I've been in. And it's a very simple thing. We're in Port Harcourt, and let's be clear, it's not about North and South per se. Because in Port Harcourt, Wike supported Tambuwal. Atiku ran. Tambuwal did not make it. But if you recall that election, there was no Southerner in it. It was all North. Because at the time, the view of the party is that Buhari is going for second term, we are going to field a Northern candidate. So all the Southerners stayed away from, were not even allowed to take part in that process. It produced a Northern candidate, Atiku. And it's also on record that Wike gave Atiku the biggest support. Both in votes and material terms, the highest support Atiku enjoyed. We go and check the records. Rivers State contributed the largest, more than any other state. So it's a thing where Wike is a good party man, but it's also somebody who stands for what is agreed. Our constitution clearly says that we shall rotate power. When we didn't do that, and we didn't do that in spite of the fact that the parties have made the mechanism for that, by the production of a Northern chairman, believing that the South will produce the candidate. When it did not happen, and he set it as a condition precedent himself, that if this does not happen, I shall do this. From that point, he actively participated in the election, not just as chairman, but as a party to the election. When after the election, he went visited Tambuwal and himself said, the hero of the convention is Tambuwal. He has produced a candidate that he wanted. And they have made Tambuwal step down. I said, this is fair. He said he has a choice to do, he has a right to abdicate that chairman's position and do what he did. But from that point, people said, okay, fine, you got what you want. Now, what you said, from that point, there's somebody tell me that his honor as a chairman to resign is inconsistent with what the party needs. Or that the time, we have 5 months to election today. It was about 7 months ago, that 2 months ago, about 7 months to election that this started. How much time do you need to do what's just? You look at 5 governors, almost 8 states and more. You look at the stakeholders of the party, and for one man, you say injustice is superior to justice simply because either the time or the swapping of offices. In the meeting in London, they discussed the swapping of offices. They discussed the process. They literally agreed, and I say this on my honor. They literally agreed. There was no doubt. Atiku agreed, Wike agreed, and you will go. And they gave themselves 1 week to perfect the process. So it was a shock to me, who sat through that meeting, when I found that what happened the week after, or a few weeks after, was that Ayu was being given a vote of confidence in a process that the candidate himself was presiding, and there had been no recourse to those he negotiated with in London. And I am just at a loss as to how we weigh things. If you want an inclusive party and you want to unite your party, all these arguments about, it's easy to tell the agreed, forgive. It's easy to tell the downtrodden, leave it. But if you don't call that injustice, it continues. We are trying to build a party of inclusion. We don't want Kano, we don't want Katsina, we don't want Tobi, we don't have great supporters in the north. So he's not speaking as a Southerner. He's speaking as a man who wants that our country is united. As a party, we come into leadership with a sense that everything and everybody is important, and everything is more for the honor. It may be like, because this is the north, let it go to the south. No, but that's not the issue. It's about the honor of an individual. You sit
But the highest officers in the process for our party are the candidate himself, the party chairman, and the DG of the campaigns. These are the people who literally lead the party through its campaigns. And when the chairman of the party is somebody who cannot keep his word, that is both on paper, is admitted by his own defender, we say just let it go.
Senator Wogo, there are two issues I would like you to respond to, and those issues were raised by Charles. The first is the collateral consequence of Ayu resigning his position as chairman. And the second point, which he also raised, is the historical view of things, that the PDP had been down this path in the past. He cited 2006 and he cited 2010 and 2011. 2006 was Senator Ahmadu Ali, and then 2010, when President Goodluck Jonathan moved from acting president to president and then contested the 2011 election, we had Vincent Ogbolo. So those two examples, you say, look, you had them from the same region, from the same regional south and then regional north, and then they went through the election. After the election, they would then have the switch of chairs.
You see, I don't want him to be selective in everything. Two things are critical there, Charles. One, the incumbent presidents in both issues were PDP presidents, and they were from the south. So even the idea of this office is there, bring it here, is counteracted by the fact that the most important officer in the nation that time on the party were Southerners. So leaving the office further, if you took that office, national chairman, from the north to the south, you will add a national chairman to President Obasanjo. So he didn't look into that. He just saw Yar'Adua and Mamadou Ali without looking at the fact that the incumbent president there. That's one. Two, when we talk about tenure, which are here, you have 4 years tenure, Secondus had 4 years tenure. Did you not take office before his 4 years ran out? At the time Ayu was taking office before Secondus' 4 years were complete. Secondus is in court, the case is coming up next year. At the time he was taking office or becoming a candidate, he didn't have a sense that this man has 4 years, he must complete his 4 years. He took that office, now he knows he has 4 years. Check our history, you will not count more than 2 chairmen who ever did, or probably 10 chairmen that did 4 years. We elect chairmen, but more of the time is the expediency of the party, that the link of the party will look at what suits the party at that time. And that's why chairman after chairman, go and check the whole history. They will go at some point because the entire party will come. All that is here is if Ayu, God forbid, if Ayu were no more, will PDP not continue? It will continue. By God's grace, we will have a long life. But my point here is that it's not about the individual. It's about what is expedient. A man says, I will leave. The party's neck can call him out. And this idea of 4 people have to go, they provided a roadmap on that. Atiku considered it, said, okay, I will review it with my people. It's not such a difficult thing. Even if you were to hold a convention and that will save our party, check the cost. When you have the collateral damage today is not putting Ayu aside. Because you're actually governor of Enugu, governor of Oyo, governor of Rivers, governor of Benue, governor of Abia. You're telling so many former chairmen serving. Even the candidates himself, who are not less than 15 of the party, of the good candidates of the party. You're telling a whole lot of people, go to hell, it don't matter. You're telling so many states. The collateral damage in itself is the dishonor and the injustice and the parading of Ayu through the states of this country as chairman of a party in dishonor that cannot keep his word to come and tell Nigeria, I'm coming to have a relationship of fidelity with you. We are going to do this. What contract can we have with Nigerians with a leadership that is dishonorable?
Charles, what is the disposition of your presidential candidate at the moment? We've been getting quite a number of reactions from him.
Well, before I go to that, let me also make some corrections from what my elder brother here said. Ayu did not take over until Secondus tenure was done, and I'll tell you what happened. When Secondus was more or less handed out of office, the rest is history because you know what happened. The party had to wait, because he was in court, had to wait till the terminal date of his exit before Ayu was running. And the party did that because they didn't want to have issues of court. And when Secondus was handed out of office, some person, those who were behind it, wanted Navid from Bauchi to take over from Secondus in the pretext that the deputy national chairman South was bedridden and that he cannot preside. The elders of the party and the legal advisors say, caution, say no, that you will be offending the constitution of our party. They have to more like practically tell the man to come and preside over the neck, which is the second decision-making body of the party, the second highest decision-making body of the party. The convention is the number one, and the neck does the job of the convention until it is ratified. The National Working Committee holds free until the addition is also ratified in neck. That's the hierarchy. You see, my brother said there was a roadmap, but he didn't tell us that roadmap. He also asked him if Ayu leaves, since they are talking about honor. Ayu's words have now become stronger than what is in our constitution as a party. They keep saying, Ayu said this, Ayu said this. They don't want to go into what our constitution says. What has happened over the years in this country is that leaders come together, quote and unquote, so-called leaders come together. They forget that the people they are leading also have a stake. Those who are leading may not be in that meeting, but do you know what represents those who are leading? The law. The law is made to protect those weak people who may not be in that meeting.
But it would also, appear that the national chairman was equally oblivious of the constitution when he made that promise.
Whether when he makes the promise and discover, you have covered the National Assembly. If you pass a law today, even when you pass a law today, and that law in proceeding to the president for his assent is discovered to have run ultra-virus, where do you come? You send it back for amendment. That is even when you pass a law, not to talk of words of mouth. Now, I am saying that Ayu didn't say he's not going to go. But what is the collateral damage? If the whole National Assembly of 469 individuals, 360 in the House of Reps, 109 in the Senate, will make a law and then send the law, you know many times it has happened, send the same law as colleagues who cover the National Assembly, you know what I'm talking about, to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And at the point of examination, they are able to discover that this law is running contrary to the provisions of the Constitution, which is the ground norm. What do? The President sends it back. That is even a law that has been looked at by 469 persons, in addition to the many stakeholders that were involved in the public hearing. He knows. He made law in the House of Reps. He proceeded to the Senate. He knows how many of the laws they made with all their eggheads thinking, and yet they take that law and then it comes back. That's even a law. Not to talk of the words of a man who in the course of time he discovered that what he said is offending the spirit and intent of the Constitution. And you are saying it's honorable. So it's honorable.
With due respect, can I just interject for 1 minute? You see, when we talk about breach of our law to remove Ayu, our law anticipates both removal, resignation, everything. Office does not breach our law.
But can you also tell us when that chairman leaves by virtue of section 45 of the Constitution? What triggers next? Tell us.
Let me tell you what happens. You see, we have this what you're referring to is the proviso that if the office remains in that zone, if the president, the chairman leaves, the president
the Damagun also promises that when you leave, that he will also leave.
No, you see, there are two things here driving this. One is the fact that Ayu himself admitted to why he should leave. Can't you pay if you allow me?
But the Damagun also promising that he will
allow me have a minute to answer that. Ayu's leaving was not so much because it's confident that honor, but Ayu said he will leave for a reason, and that reason is the unacceptability of keeping the chairman, the candidate, and the chairman. So the reason for which Ayu said I will leave affects Damagu to that extent. Now we have capacity to engineer our process where we will keep Damagu, because I'll tell you a simple way. Both of them, Ayu resigns, Damagu resigns, Ayu, the South
takes over, which there is even a deputy chairman, or you can bring somebody from the south, Damagum is reinstated. And we simply have Damagum as national chairman. It's just a process. This process, do you have the time for that?
What are the
one meeting and it's over. I can tell you one meeting and it's over. Now, that is fine. If the Lord says, okay, for this reason, we want this, you oblige them, you must give. The issue here is that, are you sure what you are refusing to admit that made him say, I will do this? He didn't say it because he didn't know what to do. That's what know.
All right, okay, all right. Senator Charles.
No, you have interjected. I wanted to learn.
Yes, learn. At what's your altitude now? 35,000.
Now, look at his interjection. He's saying that Ayu resigns because he says so. Okay, I agree. Assuming without considering. He now says Damagum that he did not hold meeting with. Damagum that is empowered by the law. If you recall, in the case of within the same party, I mentioned it, what happened with the man who was even in the sick bed. They have to go and bring him to preside over the neck. The neck of the party met and said, we have examined these issues. And Ayu says, if the party asks me to go in the neck, I will go. The neck of the party met. And this is democracy. I said, no, we are giving you people vote of confidence to be able to help us prosecute the agenda because we have done well in Osun. These same members of the party who say they are party members, who have respect for the party, doesn't even want to respect the decision of the neck. You use press conference to want to vitiate the decision of the neck. So what we are pleading with them, the reason why we are pleading is because Atiku wants to run with everybody on board. What they are demanding, what is the problem of this timeline? In 6 months' time, this election would have been done and dusted. And then everything you want to change can change. He says in one meeting, we are not talking about appointed people, we are talking about elected people. In one meeting, you will sit down, you balkanize your constitution, you will rape your constitution, and you want to bring a doctor to perform a surgery for that constitution that has been raped to become so put in place. So when you hold a meeting, portrayal of the issue. I am happy that Jide is here, who is not a member of our party. When you go to a meeting and you reverse everything that is in your constitution for the purpose of convenience, and you want to have a stable society, and that law is the only thing that protects others who don't have opportunity of attending that meeting, because it is in the law. It is in the law that you protect, you put those safeguards. I'm looking back to what our founding fathers tried to create, and everything we're doing will turn some of them in their grave. The whole essence was inclusion and dispersal of positions. And that is why these geographical zones, geopolitical zones, were created by PDP. From G18 to G34, everything they try to do is an enduring Nigeria where everybody was about to create the zones. No, it was the party thing. It was about the party thing. You are the one raping our constitution. You are the one refusing to honor the spirit, the intent, and the reasons, the founding principles of our founding fathers. We never have allowed them to.
All right, thanks. Let's clarify this point. The idea of the 6 geopolitical zones was created by Dr. Alex Ekweme, who was vice president to Alhaji Shehu Shagari during the Second Republic. Alex Ekweme came up with that idea during the 1994-95 Constitutional Conference organized by Abuja. But of course, we do know that the conclusions of that Constitutional Conference never then became the Constitution of the Federal Republic, but aspects of it now form the fulcrum of what we now know today as 1999 Constitution as amended.
And what the PDP responded on.
That's right. Alex Ekweme was a member of G34. It was a member of G34. Well, to say that it was his idea, it was on the floor of the Constitutional Conference.
The issue of Northeast was under the administration of Abacha.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm saying
whether people brought the idea, the administration that brought it to be.
Wait now, Charles. Fine, let's pause you guys. Jide, let's also step back and let's get your view as an independent analyst. Some persons have suggested that part of what we are seeing today are the lingering consequences of PDP's loss of power in 2015. That namely, the circumstances, and that's another issue, we'll come to that, the circumstances under which PDP lost power in 2015 literally put the party in disarray. And that it fell on the lot of Wike to then, as it were, stabilize the party, take it through thick and thin, and all that. But the argument has arisen as this crisis has been blossoming, that one, Wike took charge of the party, and it is alleged that he's been installing and removing the leaders of the party, including Ali Modu Sharif, who came from ANPP and then joined the PDP, and after between himself and Fayose, and after they became dissatisfied with him, he now said, okay, Uche Secondus, you are not going to be the next person. They brought in Uche Secondus, and when Uche Secondus fell out of favor, they said, okay, Uche Secondus, you must go. They removed Uche Secondus, and that it was because Wike, it is alleged, had his eyes on the presidency, that again he engineered, it is said, the emergence of Ayu as chairman of the party. So what is your take on this? I mean, is it that, as the saying goes, at some point, I mean, you dribbled and you got yourself into this cul-de-sac?
Exactly. Let me even backtrack a bit. I mean, just to buttress what you said. Who led PDP into 2015 defeat? Nwazu.
From
Bauchi. Immediately they lost. They said, Nwazu must go. Nwazu must go. They didn't even wait for the man to finish his tenure. And out of, okay, if I'm the unstable because you lost, I'm resigning. If you take a count from 1999, how many PDP national chairman have served out their tenure? I'm not sure they're up to 3. No. From Bamanga to call to there was one who was after the bill of Solomon La, Audogbe, Bamanga Chuko, Vincent Obulafo, Nwodo, Nwodo, up to today. And last year, when the heat of Uche Secondus must go, when it became strident, I was like, how many months? 3 months to the end of this man's tenure. Allow him so that you have a peaceful transition. But the powers that be within PDP stuck to their gun and said he will not be allowed not to recontest, but not to recontest. They will not allow him to recontest, and he will not supervise the transition. Now we are seeing the fallout. You went, package, and brought Ayu. Less than 2 years, and barely 6 months to election, Ayu must go. The question I will ask again is what is so offensive to the timeline that, okay, because Charles has raised one issue. If peradventure, and this is, if you go into an electoral contest, you have to have at the back of your mind that you either win or lose. Now, if you are looking at this picture about Atiku and Ayu, what if Atiku lose, which is a possibility? If Atiku lose, you will have denied the North the opportunity of providing leadership. And that will mean that after Uche Secondus is from the South, you have handed Ayu out, or maybe yes, because the man said he's not going to resign. Those are the two options. Either you resign or you are vote of confidence and you are forced to exit. Now, if you hand Ayu out and you lose the next presidential election upon which you are premising this issue of Ayu must go, then what happens to the North? How will you give the North a sense of belonging? So, I think that the leaders of the party, and you could see efforts that brought Wabara as the chairman of the BOT, which is to placate and say, okay, if let's make this sacrifice. I've also seen that the members of the Wike's camp that were appointed into the campaign council have all rejected their position. In fact, I learned that Governor Makinde who was given a position as part of
South.
Yeah, he also rejected. Now, digging in, like Ebere said, politics, you cannot run political party without wranglings. It's normal in every political setting, because where there are 12 people, there will be a Judas. But the bottom line is that politics is about conflict and conflict resolution. They still have to find a way. I will appeal. It's an appeal. It's not, this does not in any way take away the fact that IU made, if you call it freedom slip, that he was going to resign. Maybe he made that on the spur of the moment, thinking that, okay, now that I have this, because by every standard, we cannot say IU is not an accomplished man. He was the former president of the Senate. He was 3-time minister of the Federal Republic. So he is a consummate politician. He has seen it up from the Third Republic up to now. And we are talking of over almost 30 years. So if the man and is an academic of repute, so I'm not sure in IU's mindset that if he loses this battle, he will consider himself as a failure, because they have achieved. But the bottom line is that, can the Wike's camp respect the timeline that let's have the election in peace? Let's join on to win this battle, this electoral battle ahead of us, because this election coming is an election that is going to be unusual.
Okay, Jide, I have to pause you for here and take a short break. When we come back, of course, we again escalate our conversation. Ebere Ifendu is still with us, joining us via Zoom all the way from Sokoto, and of course, Senator Olaka Unwogo. Don't go away, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service. We'll be right back.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bringing germs?
Shield your family from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Wake up the champion in your child. Give them energy to go further. Milo Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa helps wake up the champion in your child.
The security situation in Nigeria has been reasonably stable in spite of activities of unpatriotic elements engaged in various criminal activities around the country. Daily situation reports coming in from states. 2 months ago, it has shown relative peace on many of our highways, such as Abuja, Kaduna, Birnin Gwari, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Finally, the hero of Nigeria's democracy has arrived. He shall usher us into a new phase of development, peace, and prosperity. He is the father of the new Nigeria, Excellent President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Welcome to another season of giving Nigerians hope yet again. We are sure of a great future for both ourselves and generations yet unborn. We look forward to you leading us as a nation into our manifest destiny. Though the challenges against us as a people are many, we know that your leadership shall set us on the right path to our greatness. A new dawn beckons on us all, and having you as our president is a precursor to this. Thank you for believing in Nigeria. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace. but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back to our live studio here. It's Good Morning Nigeria, and we're having a very heated but interesting conversation, and all our guests are still here. So let me just bring in Ebere Ifendo, the only woman in this conversation, joining us via Zoom. Ebere, I'm sure you've been having a wonderful time, but you see, this is the character of most of our political parties, and I'm wondering what you are able to read and what you think impact this might have on the followership of these parties.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. Before I go to your question, I want to, respond to what the distinguished senator there said. When we came on board, I thought we were just looking for the right way, the easiest way, the quickest way to get the violence solved, and then for the party to be able to move on. We are not going to x-ray the justice aspect of what is happening, but he brought it in. So I just want to, respond to that. Distinguished senator, this present crisis in PDP started with the zoning process, and that is where the justice lies. If PDP had microzoned their presidential ticket to the southeast, we will not be having these issues going on. When they said south, take for instance, the last president of PDP, President Goodluck Jonathan, is from the south. What will a south person, what will be the interest of a south person to contest for presidency when the ticket is zoned to the south? It should have been microzoned to the southeast, and there won't be this problem. So when we are talking about justice, can we go back? Because if we're going back to all this, we'll even increase the problem that is within PDP. And some of us said, let us leave that angle and look at the present situation and how best it can be solved. Some of the governors clamoring for justice now. I give an instance from my state. I'm from Abia State. The governor is from the Uber extraction. He's leaving a position in 2023, and he nominated another person from Uber extraction to take over from him. Do you call that justice? The problem is that internal party democracy, especially what is happening with PDP today, is because of injustice. And so if we want to go deeper into the injustice that is existing in PDP, I do not think, sir, we will be talking about justice here. So looking at how to solve this problem, it was the reason I brought in the angle of women. Women who understand better how to handle issues, especially when it comes to conflict resolution. It was the reason I said, can we leave out the men with their ego and bring in women to sort out this problem? For the women to reach out to Governor Wike and to Atiku's camp. So the important thing for me now, as the more people are doing this, the wrangling is on, you are empowering another party to win the election. That is the simple truth. And so it's for the party to now decide, which way do we want to go to? Do we want to win this election? If we want to win this election, then everybody will come on board. I said earlier, the good thing is that Governor Wike himself said he won't be leaving the party. And I see that as another thing that is being given into the party, which shows that if it's within the party, it will be unethical, it will be against the party rules if it will remain in PDP to work against PDP. In other words, he is saying that I am open for a peaceful resolution. And like Giga just invited now, why can't we just wait and have this election as a united party? When I say we, I'm talking about PDP. I'm not a member of any political party, but I want good governance, and I want justice, and I want equity. So what I'm saying here is this: if the party can come together and prosecute the election and win, it it will be better for them. And after that, they will begin to reshuffle the leadership of the party. Doing it at this time will create a lot of problems for them. So many people will be angry. So, you know, in political parties, we have what we call leaders. Wike is a leader with his followers, including governors that are following him that he's leading. At people's camp, they have also who is leading them there. And so if this problem continues, it means that people will take sides and to the detriment of the party. And which means that the party is just open to losing the election even before the election gets started. So this is where I'm looking at. In internal crisis, every member of the party is affected. The leadership of the party, the women in the party, the youth in the party, they will be seen as, you know, they're not even taken into consideration. Otherwise, these leaders that are having these issues would have come together to say, look, we have agreed that we work together, but after elections, by God's grace, if we win elections, we'll be able to, you know, reshuffle the executive, and then whoever we put there will be the one that will lead the party, you know, to execute their mandate. Let us also know that when you are contesting an election, be it as a president, be it as a governor, it is the party, the mandate of the party, the manifesto of the party that you are expected to carry out. So if a party is indecisive, that means they do not even have a manifesto, or they do not even know what they are going to present to the citizens if they finally win that election. So it is in the best interest of PDP at this time to, you know, shave off every crisis and work as a party to win and to prosecute their government. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ebere Fendu, for the views that you have expressed. Let's come back to the studios. Senator Olaka Onwogu. It looks like you want to respond to an issue because I have another matter to put on the table. Very, very quickly, so that I can bring on the issue.
Back to this whole concept. See, I listened to her and she says, you know, Wike has said he will stay in the party. Do not stay in the party. Wike went to congratulate Atiku, accepts Atiku as the candidate of the party. There is no doubt about that. He respects Atiku. He accepts Okowa as the vice presidential candidate. There is no doubt about that. So it's not about, Wike is in a good place. All Wike is asking, can we do what's right? Can we hold people to their honor? And people say there is no time. And Wike will tell you, but this man will go all over the country making promises to people of what he will do. They have to believe him. They have to believe that he has honor. Meanwhile, his dishonor is in public.
All right, that point has been made earlier. Let me just throw this in. Might this have been totally different if Wike were tapped as the vice presidential candidate to Atiku?
I don't know how much difference that makes, because it's not about Wike being president or not being president. It's about how the
vice presidential candidate.
If Wike was vice presidential candidate
running mate to Atiku,
will Wike be the one asking?
Would all this controversy still?
It's a thing we'll never know, because maybe Ayub may never have made that comment. You see, part of Ayub making that comment appears to be in his zeal, one, to see the office of chairman to the south just to produce a presidential candidate. And it was also in zeal also to pass a message that I really support something, I'm really to die for it or go for it or make every sacrifice for it. So you never know whether he will have made those statements, because if Wike will have been, will have probably in a place where he will have been more circumspect, fairer in his leadership of the party, and will never have made such comments. Having made it, we cannot presume what Wike will do or not do, because Wike didn't generate it. Wike is holding me to what you have said, so we will never know.
So what does pulling out of the campaign council mean in totality now with regards to, you know, the election?
Wike has always said at the end of the day, election is everybody to your states and to your place. Ordinarily, Wike and the rest of us will have been out there pounding the countrysides, every other state with the team, as we will normally be at all campaigns. But because of this injustice and a lack of desire to address it and unify the party, because clearly our party is divided, clearly these interests are there and they are in your face, and a recognition that people are aggrieved. We must listen to them and resolve it. Because of this lack of desire to even resolve an issue that so many governors and so many people, others. We say, okay, everybody stay in your state. Stay in the party. Be a good party now, but remain in your state. No decision, and people say that we can work against his party from his state. Why will you presume? If Wike is going to do something, at least this country knows Wike by now, to know that he will say it. So at the appropriate time, Wike will say exactly what Wike and those who work with Wike will say. And there will be no sugarcoating anything. So for those who mean well, and I see all the desire to get something, why we say we can look at it this way? Why don't we also tell the other people what is so out there? What is so
does Wike feel outraged by what Tambuwal did at the convention?
Only Wike can say that, but I will tell you, as somebody who was friends to them both,
yes,
I will tell you that it came quite as a shock. I was Tambuwal's coordinator in the primaries in Port Harcourt before, when we didn't make it, and now became the coordinator of Atiku in Rivers State
in 2019.
So, and I know the relationship between the two men. Whatever the pressures Tambuwal had to take that stand, which was going to be consequential to Wike, I thought taking your friend into confidence that this is how bad it is, or this is what I must do, because it appeared acrimonious and adversarial, like he must do everything to stop Wike, and that has never been my judgment of Tambuwal. So what exactly happened there? I thought for just whatever they passed, Wike stood out, went out, made some of the issues he had with Atiku were because of his support for Tambuwal. So if Tambuwal was taking that decision, which many things may have happened and I'm not privy to, I will think that taking his friend into confidence and saying, look, this is where we are. Maybe even tell your friends, these are the realities for all of us too.
Okay, Claire, I want to throw in, Charles, permit me to skip you, because this is a partisan, a non-partisan perspective I would like Jide to bring in. This is another question. There is a view that against the backdrop of the experience of the PDP in 2014 and 2015, when it was alleged that PDP insiders worked against the interests of the PDP in the presidential election of 2015, because it was said at the time that power must return to the north. That there is a fear now that if you gave the chairmanship and other critical party positions at the moment to those that the Wike camp is insisting on, that they might also turn around to work against the interest of an Atiku, because of the sentiment that after 8 years of power in the north, a different political party, but in the national interest, power should come back to the south.
Exactly. Wike has openly alleged that Atiku should watch his back, that many of the people who are surrounding him today worked against the party in 2015. And we do know historically that part of the, Ebore said something which is, it is becoming synonymous with PDP leaders not to honor their promises. Recall that Babangida Aliyu, as the governor of Niger State, came out to say, and I believe later former President Obasanjo said that President Goodluck Jonathan told him he was going to do one term, and that he reneged, and that was why he is not backing Goodluck Jonathan for 2011 election, but rather
the 2015
for 2015 rather, because he marketed him in 2011 and he told him in private, in confidence, that he was going to do one term. And former governor of Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, said he also said it at stakeholders meeting that he was going to do one term. Then why is he contesting in 2015? And of course, Governor Wike came out very recently to say many people within the PDP worked against the emergence or the victory of Goodluck Jonathan in 2015. So what I'm saying in essence, which is also laying credence to what you said, is that when leaders relate on whatever they say, whether in private or in public, people are bound to see them as being dishonorable. And while are you in this whole mess may have said, I will go. Like I said, Agi is not an unknown quantity in Nigerian politics. And if I have attained this level of political pedigree, I won't feel that I've not achieved. He's been 3 times ministers and president of the Senate. But the bigger picture for PDP now is it not too little too late to be running campaign and be planning special convention in order to make sure? And what is so special that we cannot wait like 6 months to have this whole swap being done when the victory will have been in their kitty, even before inauguration of the Atiku, if he wins the presidency, before the inauguration they can plan. So the issue we have found to Governor Wike say, oh, there is a 14 billion that was gotten from sales of nomination form that Ayu wanted to preside over, and that's why he didn't want to leave. I don't think Ayu is a poor man, and I'm not sure he wants to eat any money. But the point is, let people of reason, the elders, conscience, and national leaders. PDP has produced, has governed Nigeria for 16 years. Let the leaders of conscience come together and amicably resolve this issue. One way or the other.
Yes. Quickly, we have just few minutes to go. Is your team calling the bluff of the Wike's team, or are conversations, negotiations still ongoing?
Atiku has enormous respect for Wike because we see him as a bulldozer who will help us not only in Rivers to be able to also join us in other parts of the country. Nobody is calling anybody's bluff. Even those who are not even as powerful as Wike, Atiku wants to carry everybody along. And no matter what position Wike and his team maintains, Atiku, like you have said, have maintained a whole level of golden silence. He has been reaching out to them, and he will continue to reach out to them. You saw what happened with respect to the movement of the position of the chairman BOT, which was more like conceding back to the south. So if you are in a game, a democracy, when somebody moves, you also move. You don't just sit down in one place and then you don't want to move. If I may ask my brother, though we don't have time. In 2015, let's not forget, Amici was leaving office. Amici is from the same place as Wike. He did not say, let us go to the water side. What Wike said then, I recall, was that you need to first of all have the power before you begin to respect zoning. That the party in Rivers was not in power because already Amici has moved to APC. And that PDP cannot be talking about zoning when they were not in power in Rivers. In Nigeria today, PDP is not in power. Besides, the last president of the party was Goodluck Jonathan from the south. Are you using Buhari of the APC to zone in the PDP when they are operating different constitution? Those are some of the questions that I want my brothers to answer. Then lastly, Adeniran professor from the southwest was running very, very fast to becoming the chairman of the PDP. It was these same leaders who denied the south after having handed out Uche Secondus, who insisted. You saw a very wonderful leader, Wike, saying how Ayu came to beg him. He was very much instrumental to the emergence of Ayu coming from the north. You zone positions, you don't zone non-positions. The vice presidential ticket is not an office. It's not a position. It is after he has won an election, then it becomes a position. Then you now begin to look for, okay, where do we take Senate president to? Where do we take speaker to? At this moment, you can't talk about those things because the man is not occupying any office. So you cannot say that the north already have an office. He's contesting an election, which by the grace of God, we are hoping and praying that he will win. But in the event, and God forbid, that he doesn't win, he was very clear in answering that question. Would you tell the north, or come back now and come and take your chairmanship position?
Senator Laka?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I don't think we are going to an election, and we all seem to agree that we want to put our best foot forward. So I think that I know that Wike has respect for Atiku. I know that Atiku has respect for Wike. I don't think that the right thing to do is to find accommodation for each other. You cannot look at this matter and say the Wike camp is inconsequential and count it as accommodation. Because the number of persons
we look at this issue and say, look, it's not as difficult as you make it. The right thing to do is we must look at Nigerians from a view of a new thing. This is by which we put things that do wrong things and say for expediency has to stop. Our country is in a bad place. You can only deal with this country, get it right, by doing those right things and be very aggressive and forthright with them. It starts in the house. What we have here is unacceptable. You have a chairman who is in public saying, I will do this. And everybody says for expediency, don't do it. That election we want to wait for, that 6 months we want to wait for, is far more than enough time for us to clean our house, have a united house, and give to Nigerians what we have said we will do. We cannot do that by placing a leader. And when you talk about the BOT chairman, and I have my sympathies for him, the old man was practically handed out of office, sacrificed to make room for what you're talking about. Meanwhile, his office was never an issue. The BOT has never been in configuration. It has been chairman of party, president, and so on. Yet, we took this old man, set him aside. If we knew something was wrong, and we can set the old man aside, why would we not leave the weaker old man and deal with this one who is saying it's strong, but have made a public commitment? He has said something openly. On my honor, I will do this. Why don't we call him to his honor? If I tell you the story of the resignation of the BOT man, you will be more upset.
You're talking about Wale Jibril.
Yes, the second thing we want to go.
All right, so the conversation will continue, and we do hope that at some point the People's Democratic Party will be able to overcome its current challenges and join the other political parties. There are 18 presidential candidates in the race. Nigerians are looking forward to very robust campaigns. I want to thank all our guests this morning for the very frank and elaborate insights that they have provided into the bickerings within the People's Democratic Party. Very illuminating. Let's thank distinguished Senator Olaka Nwogu. He was a senator in the 8th Senate representing Rivers Southeast Senatorial District. Distinguished Senator, we're glad that you were part of today's discussion. Let's also appreciate Charles Aniago. Charles Aniago is one of the spokespersons of the Atiku Presidential Campaign Council. Charles, great having you this morning.
Thank you very much.
Jino Ojo, regular Good Morning Nigeria public affairs analyst. Thanks also for your impartiality.
Thanks for having me.
And Ebere Ifendu, who is President Women in Politics. We appreciate your contributions to this conversation. You joined us via Zoom from Sokoto. Thank you very much. All right, Claire, I think that's all that time would permit for us to have, unless we have just about time to take this segment, but I doubt it. Join us on Monday for a fresh package on Good Morning Nigeria. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
And I'm Claire Adiladu Abdul Razak. Always remember to stand up and take action against rape and rapists. From all of us here, have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
NTA, you can't be Deutsch.
The day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on the link, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International. Your window through the world.
Yes.
Latest entrant, latest technology. Welcome to Intel 4G LTE Advanced and experience super fast internet access today. Visit intel.com.ng or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt to get started. Intel. Learn more.
And geographically varied continent, Africa is home to a great many cultures and to a thousand of languages. Although
Collect my phone. Smack my phone for ground right before my eyes. Oh, what do you think? Chop up. Nothing more. Nothing more of the talking. And you're still alive.
Continue, I'm hearing you.
How is they beat me with anything way you feel? They beat me with guilt. Anything way you feel, they beat me. It hit me one day. So bad. Him carrying a laptop throughout my body. Hit me for stomach. That's when I lose that pregnancy. Now rush me go hospital.
If you please now, are you sure that the same God is? Yes, about that person.
It's not evil. Call it not devil. Call it not evil. Call it papa not devil. Join now. You see this kind of way you see? I don't think go don't brainwash all of me. Go don't get nice. You go act like innocent person. But Collins na devil. Na only me wey don live with Collins go tell una the truth. So na the same Collins wey you see so na him I dey talk about. Oh.
Continue, I dey hear you.
Oga Chidi, na man you be o.
Of course, I'm a man. Talk to me.
With that pain wey I take lose pregnancy. Collins dey give me that belle. Na the thing Collins beat that belle comot for my body.
Don't if you come here, you will have to do anything.
Oga Chidi, Collins beat me the same na neighbor rush me go hospital. Na the hospital where I dey 3 years of beating. I beg the nurse. I say I no wan die. Make she help me. But she won't give me transport money. Give me address to make her dey come Abuja. 1 year now I don dey Abuja. Atitegi I dey Abuja 4 years. I no hear from Collins. I no hear from my family. What was the Collins here now?
If you have no fear, Collins or whatever he call himself, he cannot do anything. We are here for you now. We are family. You know, I'm family.
Belle. It's okay.
Cello.
It is not a matter of crying. We have all heard you. I understand. Well, it's okay. It's okay.
Everything now.
It's okay.
Clean your eye.
Well, it's not a matter of crying. Crying is not will solve this problem. You hear me? Hey, you will have to face him. You will not cry and you will not hide. He has told you, before he will come to you, he will have to pass through us. Because you're not sorry. If he says he has fire on his head, we will bring it down. Do you understand me? Because he didn't put a dime on your head. He has no right. So to me, wipe your tears.
See, if you come and you want to come, in fact, let them fight through us. We are not come here. Or send you pay die. Hey!
So
see where you do big you call it act. That was in the past. Next time you set your mind, you have to be strong and very I don't know. But you have to be more than strong. Let him see that he's talking to you. No, he's strong. Thank you. Yeah. Let's show more.
How have you been, my love? Sorry, I went.
No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. So I love me every day, no matter when I show you. You show me love. You show me no matter when I show you. You show me love.
You're always running around. Keeping up with you needs a comforting touch from Huggies with the right stretch for how much you move. Huggies pads come to befit baby's tummy.
Their 360-degree comfort fit waistband makes them easy to open and pull off and on. So baby can keep on exploring and you keep doing great, Mom.
Now in a new look pack.
When times are tough, we know that as a mother, one thing you should never compromise on is your family's oral health, because they deserve the best. Oral-B, all-round protection. It's great value. It protects your mouth from harmful bacteria and also protects you against toothaches and gum problems which can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral-B for healthier, stronger teeth in just 1 week.
Every day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair to celebration. A little help can keep you going until the race is won. A little help can turn bundles of anxiety into a bundle of joy. And with Glow Data, you get much more than just a little help. You get the biggest data deals in town to make every day glow with small wins and big wins. Dial *777# to select your Glow Data plan.
Always stay away from me. I'll not be your wife. I beg or beg you. No come close to me.
I just stay away from you.
Yeah.
Why? See, you are my wife, and I have every right to be where you are.
Always. I am not your property. 1 year I will not pay for my head.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life. So you are my property.
I know your property. Why is I not your property? Thank you. You don't pay 1 year on top of my head. Oh, you pay.
So I stay away from you.
Yeah.
I stay away from you.
Yeah. Why this girl? They tell us how to. Everybody believe them. Me, I take your side. I say not lie. But the thing when you try to no. I get disappointed.
No. You are disappointed?
Yes. So
why?
Why not?
See, I have not done anything.
What do you not know?
Anything here? You know me very well. I have not done anything wrong. Look, I don't know what you have told you. Why you don't listen to the outside of the story? So you know the truth.
Fine. What will be your story? Talk am. Talk am.
Yeah, here. You see this girl? I gave her 10.
Liar.
I did everything for her. Yeah, do this. As I talk. Now when their stupid father left them, I was there. I gave her everything.
But I will look at her. Send it back.
One day, she suddenly woke up in the morning. And saw some of her police neighbors for CTN. She befriended. You know this deal. She started trying to spend time with them. They spend time with them. Come between me, go to her father. They place her father house. What?
Wait, Mr. Collins, I cannot pay. Because when I don't understand what you're saying. She meant that she should pay her father. Why? She don't. Oh, I'm not supposed to get any friend. Family. I should stay with you and go. Yes.
You know what? Because I took care of her, I gave her everything. What does she want for this life? But you see this coconut head, I changed her to make her say a good thing come out from that head. Where were they when I do all this thing for her? Where were they? And now suddenly, I punish her. She started looking for me. See, I want her in all aspects.
That is important. You want to be her God. You want to be her God. That will be you. I don't know who you are or who you think you are.
But I don't want you to know me, rather.
Collins.
Mama.
This girl lays down by herself. So I put sitting on this one. This woman lays down by herself. She will be a property. But I will go to it. When you put for me, you won't make her laugh. So you want to go to carry and you drop her. And when you want to chop her, you keep her. Let's go and like that.
See, Mama, you know, say I respect you well. Yeah. You know, be like all these people with the. You are talking. Yeah. I'm talking. You're talking. Oh, you know what about me? Look at all the Mama.
So it is true.
Oh, I'm talking about you on one side. Mama, just miss you. Mama, after the talk, you really pass all these people. And as you don't think so, you're supposed to know the best thing I don't say it like this for you. Papa, now me get that. What did I never do for this life? For her. Me always be with her. Everything for life. I mean for this life, you need to see me before.
Shut it! Shut it!
Try to stop me when
Wait, man? I'm not like this. I don't get this. I don't get this. If you are supposed to treat a woman who has lost 2 pregnancies for you, what can you do?
She even told you? Okay, woman, let me tell you something.
You don't address me like that.
You
address me properly. I am Segilola.
Oh yeah, Segilola. Segi.
You have no rights to address me anyhow.
Then let me address you rightly and teach you something. And his wife. It is life between them.
Who is your wife?
Oh, you should be thinking something. I mean, I think what I'm thinking now. That I married a foolish, useless woman. She has nothing. That she won't go in public. And has been saying things that happen between us to the public. You see?
Okay. So do you know what I will tell you that? Madina, I will tell you one thing. I'm not be called his wife. 1 naira I never pay.
I love you, your wife. I will never be your wife. Be your wife. Thank you. Yes, thank you. You have not been the time on my head.
You were not there.
Have you been the time on my head? So you tell us.
You were not there.
Have you been the time on my head?
Okay.
If you have not, with the way you are behaving like this, you have no right.
See, you dey point time. They point time like person wan step family land. Make I tell you first. Mama, look, now you are this thing.
You know what I tell you say? This woman not your property. Yes. I will never allow you to treat her as well.
Stop me. See, it's my property. I will take her from you. See, give that to You know that.
See, you see? You don't penetrate, come out. You don't go.
Please call it. So I said to start with that person. No, we have to do something.
Mommy, I don't want to say I see, but I told you. From the very moment I saw that my husband and that man She's so big.
You are very you need to do something. You are very order.
Mommy, see. In as much as I don't like Molina, you know I'm trying to do that. Mom, I'll make sure that man should be mortuary at cemetery.
See my boy. Better boy. Better kid. Thank you very much. Go to something.
When you wake up in the morning before you start your day, breakfast time is chaos time. For work and for play, for a great start to your day, breakfast time is chaos time.
Always start our day with a nourishing Kellogg's breakfast, powered with the goodness of grains and 11 essential vitamins and minerals. Kellogg's makes a great tasting breakfast for all of us.
Breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
All I do is win. I wake up, I win. I close my eyes, and I win. Keep up on me, come on, let's keep doing it till the world stops. Independent women, come on, now let's get it. I'ma keep doing it till the world stops.
Wow, you look great. Did you just come from the salon? Darling superstar, great birthday, salon fresh, no matter what.
It's been a long day, and nothing could feel better than sleeping comfortably. So relax, you won't be bothered by leakage or irritation tonight. Huggies Dry Comfort has a super fast dry layer that quickly absorbs wetness for all night dryness and comfort. So baby can wake up comfy and dry as the night before. And you keep doing great, Mom.
Now in a new look pack, available from 650 Naira.
Every day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair to celebration. A little help can keep you going until the race is won. A little help can turn bundles of anxiety into a bundle of joy. And with Glow Data, you get much more than just a little help. You get the biggest data deals in town to make every day glow with small wins and big wins. Dial *777# to select your Glow Data plan.
When you do come back, because I know it's like they are trying the German to the fly above. So, I said, okay. The boy is here. What do you
Okay, you can't cry. The best advice for you.
Yes. Ah! You are not with me. You are under the points.
Oh, sir.
If you don't
Yeah, I'm innocent. When you came in and you saw how they were maltreating me, so they said that they were talking to my wife, trying to convince her to take the restraining order against me.
It's okay. Explain your question. So, that's the best move to make. So you won't kill her as you kill Pulu.
I'm not getting back to God where you did. This woman, no,
See, if you went and reported this case and you ran away, it's a police.
Yeah, no man. No.
You keep quiet. Get me four of your men right now and tell me this. Come on, just go.
NTA, you can't be Deutsch.
For anyone who values financial security and ultimately desires financial freedom, creating at least one additional stream is no longer a luxury, it has become a necessity. Diversifying your income stream is crucial to protect yourself and your family against the unavoidable ups and downs of economic and industry cycles. Because of the financial risk that come from relying on one source of income, such as a job or a business, consider creating at least one or more additional streams to generate cash flow. The benefits of having multiple streams of income include peace of mind because you know there will always be money to spend. Also, you will earn much more than you currently earn from your day's job. Therefore, you will live bigger and better. Your additional income streams can be active, passive, or a combination of the two. Some may pay you for doing something that you love, active, while others can provide income for you without having to do much of anything at all, passive. Here are multiple streams of income opportunities: selling information in hard book format, selling information in the form of downloadable ebooks, making money from referral opportunities, training classes, consulting opportunities, dealership opportunities, design opportunities, manufacturing opportunities, investment opportunities. The list is definitely not exhaustible. To create wealth, you must make investment that will create dependable streams of income flows, independent of your main source of income. The time to act is now. Begin implementing this practice, and before you know it, within months, you can be enjoying the benefits and the financial security and freedom that comes from having multiple streams of income.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertips. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link. And be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Effective writing, which is traditionally referred to as literature, is an art. It can be said to be the art of making things up. It can be considered also as any writing that is original and self-expressive. This is African literature on the NTA, the largest television network in Africa. I am Nina Basi, and I'm glad to know you're always there. Talent is good. Practice is better. Passion is best. Our focus today is on talent.
There is an age-old debate whether writing is a talent or skill. This debate keeps recurring because while some people write because it comes naturally to them, others became writers through willful learning. Writers who argue in favor of nature feel that great writers are born with a special blend of creativity that sets them apart from the rest. These scholars hold the belief that if one does not have that innate talent, all the courses, seminars, and classes in the world may not help much. Thus, not everyone can learn to be a great writer if it's not in them. The argument here is that you can't truly learn to have the heart of a writer if you weren't born as one. Indeed, the ability to write is a gift, and not everyone has it. No amount of practice could ever make you a good writer if you lack creativity and knowledge. One can master the rules, But without natural born speed and imagination, writing becomes difficult. Real writing talent must exist before practice can take it further. The ability to write well seems to be linked to overall verbal and linguistic aptitude, which in turn is closely linked to general intelligence. For this reason, writing comes with research, organization, deep thinking, and analysis. With constant writing, the burning desire to get better should exist for any writer who is truly passionate about his craft.
Everyone on earth is born with a talent. What is yours?
There are many important components that an author must possess and bring to bear in his creative writing, but they all emanate from imagination, without which creative writing is unattainable. When all the components are present and put into action, then there is a synergistic effect, such that the whole will be greater than the sum of its parts. These include motivation, discipline, commitment, perseverance, grammar practice, and of course, talent. Without such elements as motivation and perseverance, talent will lie dormant. But without imagination, talent will lack the spark to spawn a captivating or mesmerizing story or piece of literature. Mani Essien Justin Robson is an embodiment of talent, perseverance, commitment, and imagination. This is evident in his debut collection of poems, Once Upon a Plume's Gate.
I have been involved in literature right when I was in my early teens. I read and I love classical literature. I also enjoy poetry, which is really the genre for which I practice. And the enjoyment led me into the odyssey of actually having to not just do for a short term, but be involved in it in all aspects of poetry. I have been in a poetry competition. I have organized it. I have also entered for international competition where I got recognized for the piece of poetry that I sent in. So for me, it is a lifestyle. It also enables me to communicate when I am in the middle of poets alike. So it's something that it's an interesting experience, and I would like to also get other people to enjoy, follow me on this intellectual odyssey so that they can feel and see the same intellectual fulfillment for which I have experienced over the years, in fact, for the past 25 to 30 years.
He lets us in on his inspirations and entry into the world of creative writing.
I didn't have a background studying literature, not even at the level of secondary school. I embraced literature when I started associating with certain group of people in my middle teenage years. They had like a small writers club in the city for which I grew up. And they used to come together to read and share every new piece of poem that a member of the club had written. So on one or two occasions, I was invited to come and sit down and listen. And for me, it was such a euphoric experience. Listening to the beauty of the words, the way they capture certain ideas, and how they use words to describe those ideas. It was an experience for which I wanted to explore further. So I decided that I was going to get some of those poems from them, read, And when I read, I get my dictionary nearby, I get a thesaurus nearby, so that I could understand how the words are arranged. Then, if you're familiar with poetry, it has a lot of figure of speeches in them. And a poet is somebody who is allowed poetic license. So, if you are able to understand this in combination, it will lead you to a lot of understanding of the poems, and then your experience in poetry will be transcendent. So that was how it started, and I delved into it by actually writing my first poem.
His ingenuity as a poet strikes one from the title of the piece.
The title of the book is actually something coming out of a poet's imagination, but I like to break it down. I don't want to speak a lot on the word once. We all know that. Upon, we all know that. So the other two words, a plume and a gate. Historically, back in biblical time, classical Renaissance time, even in Victorian time, the main instrument of writing was a feather dipped into ink, and then you write with it. When the ink dries, you dip it back into the ink and continue writing. So, a plume represented a major instrument of writing. If you were to substitute the word plume today, you would use a pen. So that will be once upon a pen's gate. But that is too ordinary for anybody to see it as coming from the mind of an ingenious poet. So that is why I use the word a plume. Then moving to the word gate. Gait in simple interpretation means a manner of movement, the way you walk, the way you run, as the case may be. So if you add the meaning of gait to a plume, the simple translation of that name would be once upon the movement of a feather. So a movement of a feather once upon a time actually produced the content that we see in this book. The product is the result of how a feather did move once upon a time.
Themes from nature, human experiences, and more form part of his work.
Historically, most of the successful poets, which we have come to appreciate in contemporary times, have been people who have been inspired by an object. The object could be one in which they see and feel, or it could exist in their imagination. The themes explored in my book is not dissimilar to what I have just said now. My first entry into poetry, the anthology that you have, is an exploration in the genre of romantic poetry. Romantic poetry has to do about nature, pastoral living, the simple lives of people, and the things we see in nature.
Manny Robson poems are all-inclusive when it comes to the audience, as his language is for the initiated and uninitiated students of poetry.
I have decided in writing my first anthology to explore all these facets of human life using contemporary English language, also using Victorian English, because some expressions in poetry is better conveyed using a certain language. So as you read through, you will see some pieces with some form of archaic English, and then you move to some pieces that is written in pure contemporary modern English. It's just to allow for diverse experience for people, both for the initiated students of poetry and the uninitiated.
Poetic devices employed in the piece captures the reader's interest from the start to the end of the book.
There are different facets to a poem. You could decide to write a poem using what is called free verse. Free verse is like you're conversing and telling a story. Or you can make it structured. In that sense, you're writing it in stanzas. You can have a first stanza, second stanza, third stanza.
The award for him is well considered.
When my publisher, Nigerian publisher, received the manuscript for this and they read through it, what they did was get back to me and they told me that they haven't seen this kind of writing ability in recent times. So the Tutola Palm for Poetry is an award given every year to exceptional poet in honor of Mr. Tutola, who was a Nigerian writer in the early 50s. So the panelists who read through my manuscript felt that the pieces of poetry in the anthology were actually very good, and they deemed it qualified to be awarded that prize. And it is very interesting that it was my first entry into that space that won this award.
He recites one of his poems dear to him, Sorrowful Agony.
"'Tis a day I recall so well. Home I'd come from a journey still. Though weary drab with sunken knee, I had my dearest last to say. So sweet some words I sent to her. It was my life's one happiest hour. With mien so bright, heart singing high, of bliss within I can't deny. Knowing she never has been late, before to hit upon our date, I settled down to wait and dream, least minding any fortune dream. But all day long I pined and moped, each passing bird be her I hoped. And when night came and thunders drum, I was as sad as when I'd come." So this poem is probably one of the most beautiful I have ever had to write.
Our beam on arts composition is on an individual who's proven that talent and passion stands one out in any chosen career.
Once Upon a Plume's Gate is Manny Robson's debut into the poetic genre, considered a monument to creative art from a visionary with an eye for situation, an ear for dialogue, and the mastery of the ancient art of aesthetic expression. Once Upon a Plume's Gate, an award-winning anthology, is an intellectual odyssey in the fine pattern of poetic symphony, exploring the vagaries of various human experiences. The collection is an amalgam of life's mystic from every familiar perspective of good and evil, ambition and failure, love and betrayal, hope and despair. Manny Essien Justin Robson attended the prestigious Hope Waddell Training Institute, Calabar. Holds a Bachelor of Technology degree from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, where he graduated as the best student in his class in 2000. He was awarded a scholarship by his state government to study for masters at the State University of New York Maritime College, United States of America. On graduation in 2004, he was hired by the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation Limited, HSBC Bank in the USA, into its Graduate Management Development Program, where he participated in a number of investment banking and financial advisory transactions in the bank's head office in New York. On his return to Nigeria, he worked with a number of financial institutions, culminating in his engagement as the managing director of the asset management business of a foremost insurance company in Nigeria. He is also the chairman of the Manny Robson Foundation, a non-profit entity set up for service to humanity. He is from Cross River State, Nigeria. He is a member of the Institute of Directors, among other professional organizations. Manny's interest in poetry started as an 11-year-old during his first English literature class. As a teenager, he wrote his first set of poems and entered into a local school competition, which brought his talent to the fore. Once Upon a Plume's Gate, a collection of poems he wrote in the early 90s during the intervening period between leaving secondary school and starting university education, is an expose to his raw talent in the art of creative writing. No wonder in 2020, the collection won him the Tutuola Palm for Poetry Award.
Are you an aspiring author or poet? Then literary instruments are your friend. Up next on the program is our literary device segment.
The nomen is a literary device that can be defined as the resolution of the issue of a complicated plot on fiction. It can also be described as the conclusion after the climax of a narrative in which the complexities of the plot are unraveled and the conflict is finally resolved. The nomen is the very end of a story, the part where all the different plot lines are finally tied up and all remaining questions are answered. It is usually the very last thing your audience sees, so it has to be well written or the story will seem unsatisfying. It could be found in the final chapter, part, or epilogue. The word denouement comes from the French word desnoir, which means to untie, originally from the Latin word for knot or nodus. In that sense, it could be described as the untying of all the knots created through a piece of drama or fiction. Denouement is a French word that literally means the action of untying, from a verb meaning untie. It can simply mean to smoothing out or finishing of the story after the climax. Denouement offers closure and answers any pending question the reader might have after the climax. Denouement and resolution are two different terms. Resolution is the part of the story where a character solves a main problem, often part of the climax, while denouement is what happens at the very end of the story. Examples of denouement in literature. Virtually every story ever told has some type of denouement. Simply flip to the last few pages of a book or the last lines of a play. Here are a few classic examples. Arrow of God by Chino Achebe. It reads, after a couple of months of famine, the people of Umuaro are suffering. The catechist at the Christian church, John Goodcountry, offers to accept the people's sacrifice of new yams so that they can harvest their crop. He says that the Christian God will protect them from Ulo's wrath. When Ezolu's son Obika dies suddenly after performing a funeral rite, the people decide that it is Ulo's punishment on his headstrong and stubborn priest. She Stoops to Conquer by Oliver Goldsmith. Charles and Kate are found out and accept each other in spite of their ruses. Tony no longer has to marry Constance, and Constance gets to be with Hastings and have her fortune. Independence by Sarah Ladipo Mainka. Tayo and Vanessa end up living their lives independent of each other, but still secretly in love till the very end. Most fairy tales end with a classic finishing, and they live happily ever after. Importance of the denouement. Denouement is important to literary works as it provides clarity and satisfaction to the readers or viewers. It is the most effective and straightforward way to make sure your reader understands the point you were attempting to make. Denouement wraps up the whole story and usually comes after a huge climax. It places everything in proper order and allows the central theme or sentiments of the drama to show. It should be noted that a poorly written denouement can destroy the whole story.
Proverbs are known for giving important life lessons in simple messages. Before we wrap up this edition, here is a wisdom pill I'm sure will last you till our next edition. Bye.
Naira and Kobo. The Nigerian currency comes in notes and coins to complement each other, to promote payments convenience and discourage rounding up prices. According to a 2022 Independent Online article, coins are usually issued across world economies to ensure a balance in the currency structure and units of accounts and ease transactions. However, while preparing budgets for daily expenses and other financial transactions, figures are often rounded up to the nearest whole, discarding the details of lower denominations and kobos. After the point of payment, after a shopping transaction, many customers would opt for sweets, candies, or biscuits rather than accept lower denominations as change. While in other cases, dealings in coins are not available or acceptable.
Wetin be this? Come out first. Wetin be? It's my job money now. Wetin go take am? No, madam. Now you can't get it now. Madam, please.
No. Wetin go take am do?
Madam, you can't go back now.
Why dey use am now?
Why dey use it? You can't take am now.
We dey sell am. So we no go collect this.
Madam, they dey use am. Madam, don't friend. Madam, the money I get. So if I come to this now, you arrest me. Yes, now.
Many Nigerians view the handling of coins as demeaning and meant to be given as alms rather than kept for personal use. These attitudes lead to increased preference for higher denominations and crowding out of lower denominations of notes and coins. Some people are said to go to extremes like visiting a goldsmith, where these legal tenders are turned into jewelry pieces. In 2007, the Central Bank of Nigeria redesigned the coin series 50 kobo, 1 naira, and introduced 2 naira coins along with lower denominations of the banknotes, that is the 5 naira, the 10 naira, 20 naira, and 50 naira. It included reducing the weight and size of the previous coin types and addressing the problem of rounding up prices. The existence of these structural imbalances justifies higher denomination notes, which, as of 2020, CBN hinted that a sum of 58.6 billion naira was used to print 2.52 billion naira notes. The speed of circulation of these notes was very high and consequently gets dirty or faded quickly, which resulted in a high replacement rate, unlike the coins that can stay in circulation for as long as 30 or 50 years. Moreover, coins can easily withstand abuses like poor handling, folding, tearing, writing, stapling, and even spraying at social occasions, which the naira notes are subject to. Now, will the availability of coins not facilitate transactions and reduce the tendency to approximate prices of goods and services to the nearest currency notes? Will the unavailability of coins not betray the level of accountability? Is the absence of coins not a factor in the rising inflation in Nigeria?
This is the network service of the NTA.
Naira and Kobo. The Nigerian currency comes in notes and coins to complement each other, to promote payments convenience and discourage rounding up prices. According to a 2022 Independent online article, coins are usually issued across world economies to ensure a balance in the currency structure and units of accounts and ease transactions. However, while preparing budgets for daily expenses and other financial transactions, figures are often rounded up to the nearest whole, discarding the details of lower